Hey, what's going on, guys? Ethan Gladwell here with Medicare Millennials, where we're teaching you folks how to sell Medicare year round. I've got a really good one for you guys today. A lot of folks have been reaching out to me about this, and it's something that I struggled with less than a year ago. I had to ask my mentor 100 times over and over about this until it finally clicked. And so I can't believe that I haven't talked about it before, but it is the difference between low income subsidy, also known as Extra Help, and QMB, also known as Medicaid. I know that's a little bit different in every single state, and the criteria to get approved for those things are different in each state. But today we're just going to kind of talk about the basics and what you can do with that information. Because I had a gentleman from Florida reach out to me, and he was like, "Man, I'm a little worried about writing after open enrollment period because I just don't run into a lot of duals, a lot of folks on Medicaid." And I said, "What are you talking about, man? They don't have to be on Medicaid for you to continue writing all year long." Shout out to you, Nick. This one's for you, man. Okay, let's get started. So again, guys, there's a huge difference between somebody that's on Extra Help and somebody that is on Medicaid. And there's several ways to figure out what level they're on. There's several ways to figure out what plan that they do qualify for. And there's several things to look out for when considering a plan for somebody on either one of these plans. We're going to break it down just a little bit. LIS, or Extra Help, is a federal program. It overrides Medicare and any other sort of program, any sort of company or plan that you put these people in. Now, small disclosure, and I'm going to go over this a little bit more in detail. If they have Extra Help and you put them in a plan where that plan's formulary does not cover that drug, Extra Help will not override that plan. Okay, so if you see NC not covered, that means that drug is not covered under that formulary, and that means Extra Help will not cover it. So that's very, very important to understand and to know when helping somebody out. Now, I'm going to record another video after this. I'll most likely put it up on our Instagram. It'll be shorter. I think the software that we use only allows me 5 minutes, so I'll throw it up on Instagram, so make sure you guys check that out. And I'm just going to go over how we determine what they're on as far as Extra Help, how we determine what we can do with it, and how we determine if they're on QMB or Medicaid. Okay, so back to where we were. When these folks are on Extra Help, it's super important for them because what that does is that caps their drug prices. For a generic, I believe it's $3.40, and for a brand, it's $9.20. Again, I don't know if that's federal. Right here in Texas, that's what it's at. You can check with your state to make sure that it's the same. I assume that it is, being a federal program. And again, guys, you got to make sure that that drug that they're on is on formulary. For example, I ran into a gentleman this week who had Extra Help, and he had recently switched to a company that did not cover his rheumatoid arthritis drug. And so since January, he's just gone in pain because that's just the way it is. And so when I sat down with him, I mean, he could barely talk. He was just sitting there rubbing his hands like this. It was one of the most sad situations I've ever seen. I said, "What's going on?" And he explained that to me, and I said, no, that's wrong. That's all wrong. Somebody did you wrong. Absolutely not. And so we put him back with the company that he had to be able to get that drug covered again, because it was like a $4,000 a month drug or some ridiculous thing like that. So we put him back into what he had. He got that drug covered again, effective 4/1, and he can quit sitting there living in pain. So that's Extra Help, LIS. There's a whole way to go about applying for that, but again, guys, it's super helpful for folks that are on insulin or any sort of just really out there expensive medications. A lot of heart medications, Eliquis for one. This is a really good program for those folks on that. And so if you're running into somebody with what you believe a low income, now we're not talking $2,000 or $3,000 a month, we're talking $1,000 to $1,500. Again, every state's different, but you need to be putting these folks on Extra Help, LIS. So if they do have that, if they have what's Extra Help, and you run into them, and let's say it's April, let's say it's July, let's say it's August, if they do have that, you can switch that person's plan the first 3 quarters of the year. Now you can't in the 4th quarter unless they get a new status. So let's say they lost it and got it back. Let's say they got a new level, whatever it may be. You can't just use what's called LIS maintaining as a special election period during Q4. Okay. With that being said, You can switch them at any time of the year for the first 3 quarters, and you don't have to put them in any sort of dual plan or anything. In fact, most people on LIS alone can't qualify for a dual plan, and that's the huge difference right there. And the best way to find it is I typically go into a carrier website. Honestly, I use United Healthcare, or I log into their Medicare profile. With their permission, of course. I'll take a look and it'll say full extra help, partial extra help, whatever it may be. It helps you out right there and tells you what it is that they have. But again, I never trust Medicare.gov 100%. I always, sorry, something just popped up. I'll get that. I always want to double check on a carrier website. It just, it's good practice not to depend on Medicare.gov. Okay, so that's Extra Help LIS. Now we're going to talk about dual or Medicaid or QMB or SLMB or PACE or whatever it is that your state calls it. This is a state-leveled Medicaid. There's several layers or levels here in Texas. It can go QMB, QMB plus, SLMB, SLMB plus, etc., etc. Now, depending on their level depends on the dual plan that they can get into. So, you see somebody with partial Medicaid, full Medicaid, whatever it may be, it is your responsibility to call the carrier that you're considering putting them with and say, giving them their their Medicare number, their date of birth, their address, as well as their Medicaid number if you have it, and they'll let you know if they qualify for that dual plan. The dual plan is usually where it's all zeros down the board for a primary, specialist, ER, inpatient, outpatient, and it comes with a bunch of those additional benefits. And so don't just assume if they have some form of Medicaid that you can throw them into any sort of dual plan. I know it sounds crazy, but again, there are different levels for that. And it's super important to know what level that they have and which plan that they qualify for, because I've had it before where I submitted it. Oh, you're on Medicaid. Here you go. It sat there for 2 weeks, and then they declined it because the client didn't have the right level of Medicaid. So make sure that you're doing your due diligence. You're taking a look at that. You're making sure that they have the right level. United Healthcare is big in our area, so I use them. And what it is, I go into their Medicare, Medicaid check, and you'll type in the name, date of birth, their Medicare number, and you'll hit yes, you've got permission, and then boom, it'll pop up, and it'll tell you if they qualify for the dual PPO, the dual HMO, or if they have LIS. So it'll kind of give you that information. I know other carriers do that as well. I'm just not as familiar because I don't write near as much of anybody else other than them. So, guys, I hope this helps. This is something that I struggled with, again, for, forever. And then I've had a few agents reach out this week asking that question, and I kind of was like, dang, why do you keep asking me that? I've already told you that answer. And then I remembered, hey, look, it wasn't too long ago you were asking that same question over and over and over again. So, guys, Extra Help is federal. We need to make sure whatever plan you put them in, that drug is covered. It doesn't matter if it's tier 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. It just has to be covered. And then Extra Help will make sure to subsidize that cost. If it's not covered, they won't subsidize it. To verify, you can call a carrier, or you can log into their Medicare profile, or you can get onto a carrier's website that shows you that information. It'll tell you the level and the percentage. Super important to know. For Medicaid, you need to verify their Medicaid level. You need to see what level that they're on, and then you need to call a carrier that you're considering putting them on and make sure that they can qualify for that specific plan. So I hope this helps. This is something that, again, a lot of people have been reaching out to me about, and it's exciting because, guys, look, they don't have to be on full-blown Medicaid for you to write them the entire year. Just remember the first 3 quarters. We can use this special election period, LIS maintaining. If they got Medicaid or LIS or Medicaid, anything like that, you can use during Q4, you can use LIS gain or LIS loss if they lose it. So, guys, that's how we're writing. One of the big reasons we're writing all year long. Use this. If you have any questions, please reach out. But this one will allow you to continue writing all year long, and you're going to help a lot of people save a lot of money on some of these expensive drugs. I hope you guys enjoyed. Y'all take care.